Things just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. Again, valiant effort down the stretch for the Bucks. Just too little, too late. Let's go down and let's see what Coach Fletch and the rest of the crew has to say. And as always, go Bulls. So let's head into the locker room right now and see what the guys have to say about that one. Wow. Where do the Buccaneers go from here? What an incredible atmosphere. What a good win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They snapped a 7-game winning streak. How we feeling, Bucs Nation? It's time to party, baby. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Recher podcast. What do we have going on here? Is there like a green screen effect? What is going on? The background, no virtual background. What is going on? There we go. Man, that was a little funky for a second there. I had to get everything. We're doing some new things here on the program. I was working with our old producer. If you guys remember him from Jay and Zach, is our good buddy James Donlin. He's doing a lot of stuff for us here. And if you saw, you'll see it when we chat with Kawika Mitchell at 1:00 today. I got a new setup for the interviews. Also, if you guys saw on Twitter or on Facebook, my new cover screen with the black and pink, I'm discombobulated. I have been running around like a maniac all freaking morning, and I'm going to tell you why here in a bit. I appreciate you all, as always, here on the Recher podcast. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. I am everywhere, and I appreciate everybody for supporting me. Supporting me and you, of course, the Rowdies, everybody back here. Love you all. Thank you so much. My guy, David Terry, the $10 super chat. If you can contribute via the super chat, it really does help. So please, please, please contribute when you can. I love you all. Thank you guys so much for all that you do and all the support that you give me. Whew, I'm out of breath, man. I've been doing laundry, just running all over the place, getting a new book back ready. Just it's been wild. It's been a wild morning. So shout out to Dolan and Benny. Chroma Key going crazy. You got that right, buddy. Happy Friday. Ready for a cold beer tonight. Game 2 of the Cup Finals, and what a win for the Rays last night. You got that right, buddy. We're going to get into everything on the program today. We mentioned this on the program yesterday. We'll say it again right here. New USF Hall of Famer and former Super Bowl champion. Oh, he'll always be a Super Bowl champion in my eyes. Former New York Football Giant Kawika Mitchell joins us at 1:00 today, so can't wait to chat with him. Why does it say June 5th on here? It ain't June 5th. It's June 6th. See, guys, I'm doing it. This is what happens when it's a one-man band here. Some of these things are a little crazy here. Yeah, and obviously we got a new coach with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Also, the Rays continue their winning ways. I'm going to tell you the reason why. Indiana is alive. Wow, what a win for the Pacers in Game 1. But also, they're dealing with some issues at the quarterback spot. And the guy that we know here in the state of Florida, we'll get into that as well. Aaron Rodgers finally signs with the Steelers. Peter DeBoer out in Dallas. Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final tonight. And a new coach for our Tampa Bay Lightning joining the staff with John Cooper. A lot of people thought it was going to be Derek Lalonde. I told you that it wasn't going to be Derek Lalonde. Not a chance. Not going to bring that guy back. Sorry, just the way it goes. Yeah, make sure you follow me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, a little bit of everything. Love you guys again, as always. Big win for the Rays last night. We'll get into that in about a couple of minutes. All right, so the reason why I'm so discombobulated right now. What's up? There he is. There they are. Lady Evil, Russ, my people. Thank you, guys. You are the best. Yeah, a lot of good things, a lot of new things in the works here with the Recher podcast. And Russ is going to be a big part of that with Honest Hammer Construction. We're going to get with him in the next week or so because we got a lot of good things going on. And again, James Donlin and I were sitting down yesterday, kind of putting together, giving us a new fresh coat of paint. We got some new things going on. You're going to notice a much different look to the Recher podcast. And Russ and Honest Hammer Construction, they're going to be lockstep right there with us this entire way. Okay, so the reason why I'm running around like a maniac today, I've always implored you guys, anybody that listens to the show, anybody that watches the show, to always go for it, right? Always go for it. Always, if you have the opportunity to go do something, to go travel, take that chance. You only live once. So I'm going to follow my own advice, because too many times in this world, people don't follow their own freaking advice. They always want to tell other people what to do, and they don't live what they say. For me, I'm going to take my own advice. I already have started the process. So, as you all know, University of Tampa playing in the D2 World Series in Cary, North Carolina. And I was going to book my flight out for 3 o'clock today to get out there and to watch the first championship game tonight at 6, second game tomorrow, and if necessary, a game on Sunday. The only problem is that there was rain in the forecast. So I was going to have to wait until that game was over, because listen, you're going to wait until the semifinal game is over, right? Before you book your ticket to go up there. So the game was supposed to start at 6:30 yesterday. Okay, no problem. Game's over at 9, 10 o'clock. You book your flight for Friday afternoon at 3:15. Then you go, you make it there by 5:15. If they, obviously if they win, and you get there for the championship game, or the game 1 of the 3-game series at 6 o'clock tonight. Well, because there was rain in the forecast there in Cary, North Carolina, their 6 o'clock game got pushed back to 9:30. So the game that was originally supposed to be at 1 o'clock was going to be played at 6. Their game was going to be played at 9:30. So it's a freaking late game, right? And you figure 3-4 hour game, it'll be over 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock. No big deal. Just stay up, right? Stay up. If they win, you book your flight, you go to bed, you wake up, you do your podcast, to hop on a flight, and you go. Well, I turn on the game at 6 o'clock between Central Missouri and Lenoir-Rhyne, the other side of the bracket, and I notice that they're in a rain delay. So I'm like, oh my God, what does this mean for the University of Tampa? What does this mean for their game? We don't know. What the hell is going on? So we wait a couple minutes. I'm like, hopefully the rain delay is not long. I turn back a couple of minutes later. They're taking the tarp off the field. I'm like, all right, this is a good thing. And then I look at social media. And in social media, it says the game between the University of Tampa and Northwest Nazarene has been moved to Friday at 1 p.m. with the first of the 3 championship games then starting at 6 o'clock. So the winner of that game would have to play 2 in one day, that second game being the first of the World Series of 3, best of 3. So now I'm in a pickle. Now my conundrum is, what do I do? Do I buy the ticket? Do I still go? Do I wait until Saturday, right, and leave early Saturday morning and try to make it for game 2? And this is all dependent on whether UT wins or not. Now, listen, UT lost the first time they played Northwest Nazarene, kind of in quote-unquote pool play, right? But then they beat them, because you have to beat them twice to make it to the finals, 13-5. So going back and forth last night after the rain delay, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I'm either going to possibly miss 2 games, right, and get there on Saturday, and then you never know what's going to happen. Or do you just fly up on Friday? Do you fly up at 3 o'clock and take the chance that UT doesn't win the game? So I was kind of weighing the positives and the negatives and what I was going to do, and I actually called my mom and dad for advice on this one. And I was just really excited about it. I was really excited about the decision that I was going to have to make. Do I wait it out and not go, and go Saturday morning, which would probably be a little bit more expensive, and it's just, you miss a couple of games, you just don't know, right? Or do you take the chance? Do you get on that flight at 3:15 while they're in the middle of the 1 o'clock game and not know the outcome of the UT Northwest Nazarene matchup until you land in Raleigh, North Carolina? Now, I could possibly land in North Carolina and be like, wow, UT lost. I'm going to go meet up with everybody, have dinner, and probably head back tomorrow. Or do I just say, screw it? Like I was in the middle of 2. But as I've told you guys time and time again, life is too short to not take risks. Life is too short to not put yourself out there. You can't take the money with you when you die, right? So I booked my flight last night. at 3:15 today. I'm going to be leaving Tampa, and I'm going to be heading to Raleigh, North Carolina. And while I'm in the air, the game between the University of Tampa and Northwest Nazarene will finish. And when I touch down in Raleigh, UT will have either lost and they're done, they're out, and I'm literally staying there for like 12 hours and then heading home, or UT wins and they advance to the championship, which starts tonight at 6 o'clock. I booked my ticket. I booked my flight. I'm halfway packed, and I am ready to go. Because if there's one team that I'm going to take a chance on, if there's one team that I am going to book a ticket and it's so crazy. Like I'm excited to not know. I'm excited to be in the air and just be like, this could be a start of a 3-day weekend or a start of a 12-hour weekend, and just turn my happy ass around and come back to Tampa. But I am going to take the chance. I am literally putting my money where my mouth is. And I am going to believe that Joe Urso and the Tampa Spartans are going to get it done against Northwest Nazarene. And they're going to win this game at 1 o'clock, so that when I touch down in North Carolina, I'll get my Uber. I'll head right over to the USA Complex in Cary, North Carolina, and meet them for the championship game at 6 o'clock tonight. You guys know I've had JD Urso. I've had Cole Russo on this program before, 2 kids that I've known since they were knee-high to a grasshopper, 5 years old. And I am all in. I am all in on the Spartans. I'm going to take this risk. And what's the worst that can happen? If they don't win, I mean, it is what it is. It's an adventure. Today is a day that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. And I hope that it's something that you guys can use as an example for your life. And it doesn't have to be something like this, but if you are nervous about going to ask somebody out or going for a job interview, or just at all, if you're apprehensive to take that leap of faith, I hope me doing this today is just a little bit of an inspiration for you to do that. What's the worst that can happen, right? Like, I lose some money. Well, it's the effort. And you should always surround yourself in life with people that go that extra mile, people that are willing to spend some more time, spend some more money just to make it happen. And I'll be damned if I have the opportunity to see 2 kids play their last game. If I have a chance to go see them, I'm going to do it. 2 families, the Russos and Ursos, and put the Saladinos in there. 3 families that have always been so great to me and great to my friends and family. These are the kind of people that you go that extra mile for. These are the kind of people that you do crazy shit like this. So if I could ask all of my people here, please pray for me. Pray for the University of Tampa. Manifest good thoughts. Manifest good things. Let's pray that they win. Again, 1 o'clock today. And if they win, hey, it's going to be a long weekend. And that's Lady Evil saying, get the onboard Wi-Fi. I was thinking about that. Do I want to know? Do I not want to know? We'll see. But I'm going to do like a little bit of a video blog, a little vlog thing. And we'll go from there. Not your personal. Yes, you are. Find an awesome spot in Raleigh to have a steak just in case, then the trip is worth it. Yes. And my roommate, actually, her cousin owns a pizzeria in Raleigh as well. So, yeah, I love that. I love that, buddy. David Terry, why not, Jay? Always live by this saying, I've never seen a hearse with a trailer hitch. I like that, buddy. I like that. All right. More on that a little bit later on. How about our Tampa Bay Rays? Honestly, look at these guys winning this game last night, and look no further, okay, than what happened in the 9th inning. It all comes down to what happened in the 9th. And it's not just that the Rays came back, okay? It's how that 9th inning went. And there's a couple of things that stood out to me about that 9th inning. First off, when you look at the approach that Junior Caminero had at the plate, right? When you watch what he was able to do in that spot, he didn't try to do too much. And that is a big thing for a young player. 3-1, 2 runners on. A lot of guys expand the zone in that situation, and they're trying to go big fly. They start getting, oh my God, I can hit 3-run home run and walk it off. He didn't do that. And this is why you look at Junior Caminero, and of course, a fantastic, he starts off the game with a solo shot in the second, using the middle of the field, right? You guys have heard me say this before. When you're looking at players and how good they're doing, watch where they're swinging and missing, okay? Guys that are doing well are not pulling everything. They're using the middle of the field, unless you're Isak Paredes. He's the guy that over the years, he's the fly in the ointment. He's the guy that you don't look at when you're talking about things like that. But for the most part, look at these hitters that are going alley to alley, right center to left center, and staying up the middle. Look at Junior's home run, okay? It's easy to maybe do that early in the game. But, and this I think is one of the most impressive things when it comes to Junior Caminero, is it's his ability to stay to the middle of the field late in the game. It's tough. The emotions, the adrenaline, the fans, the pitchers, like everything goes into it. It's so much more difficult to stay even keeled, to remember to stay balanced and stay focused when you're, late in the game like that. It's just the stakes are higher, no doubt about it. But I was so impressed yesterday, and I hope it doesn't get lost on a lot of people. Junior Caminero, his ability to be able to go, I'm not going to try to hit the 3-run home run here. I'm going to stay down the middle of the field. And he ropes one right back up the box. Love to see that from Junior Caminero. Now, another guy that's been much maligned is a Christopher Morel. Okay, you look at this entire situation that happened, and listen, Mangum comes up, he flies out to right field. It is what it is. The kid's played really well since coming off of the IL. But let's give credit where credit is due. All right, when you look at this ninth inning and you see what Christopher Morel did here. Now, he hits a ball to third base, and I don't know what Josh Young was thinking of in this situation. You have to know where you're going with the baseball before it's hit every single time. And that's why I say when you look at this ninth inning, this is the difference between one team playing smart baseball and doing the little things and a team like the Texas Rangers where they can't get out of their own way. Young's a good player. Marcus Semion's a really good player, having a tough year. You got to know, with a runner on first and second with 2 outs and a right-handed batter up, your third baseman is playing deep. So unless it's a slow, high hopper coming in or a slow roller, he's not going to really be able to go and touch third base because he's playing back. He's playing on the lines, probably preventing a double. He'll give up the single to possibly tie the game. You don't want to give up the game winner. But you have to know, if you're the second baseman in that position, that if that guy's either going to go to his left or go to his right on the backhand or take a drop step to go back to his left, you have to bust your ass to second base to give him the option of a force out. You have to. This is Marcus Semien. This is a veteran. This is a World Series champion, an all-star. And he kind of half-asses it to the bag, kind of shakes his hand like he doesn't want the ball. Young double pumps and then goes to first. By the time he turns and fires to first base, like Christopher Morel can move it a little bit. He was safe by a mile. I knew right then and there the Rays were going to win that game. You can't do that. You can't get into a situation where you don't give yourself an out, for lack of a better term. Right? There's multiple usages of that. To get out of the inning and to get the out, right? So the next play, we see Taylor Walls, who seemingly gets so many freaking opportunities to be able to be the hero or the zero in spots like this. I don't know. That's the way it goes, guys. It doesn't matter how you formulate your lineup. It doesn't matter who goes where. You'll see this at every level of baseball. It happens. Ask any coach. Little league, travel ball, high school, college, minor league, pro. Over the course of a season, the same guy does the same thing. Like I had a guy, Ty Evans, one time. Ironically enough, he is on the field crew for the Tampa Bay Rays working at Steinbrenner Field. He got hit one season 18 times. I think the rest of the team combined got hit 14 times. He got hit 18. It was just that season he was the guy. Another season, there was a guy, Trevor, on our team. He was the guy like Taylor Walls. He was one of our guys that batted 8th or 9th in the order, but he came up with the game on the line time and time again. It's just Baseball's funny like that. And all you want from Taylor Walls is to put the ball in play. Put the ball in play. Give yourself a chance. Don't strike out. No fly balls. Let them make a mistake. And that's exactly what you saw. I don't know where their outfield or infield positioning, what the hell they were doing. I have no idea. And this is what happens when you have a guy playing out of position. You know, Josh Smith, the guy that was playing first base last night, he's a middle infielder. He's playing first base, right? You have to know that if you're playing in that position, you cannot be too far off the bag. He was so deep and so far off the bag that any ball hit to him, there was no way that the pitcher was going to get to first and beat Walls to the bag. I don't understand that. Yeah, you're trying to keep the ball in the infield, but my God, you got to be able to get to first to get the out. That ball was hit a couple of steps to his right. His immaturity and his lack of experience at that position showed. Marcus Semien gets the ball, and Taylor Walls beats that out, no doubt. Junior Caminero, who's on second base. This guy does not stop. He rounds third. He took a couple of peeks back. You want him to be able to put his head down and run and just trust the third base coach. It's less and less of a reality, right? I mean, you want to be involved. You kind of want to see what's going on. He takes a peek back. He starts running. Brady Williams is sending him at third. And then as Junior looks back to see what's up with the play, then Brady puts up the stop sign. He's almost in his way. And Junior already, he puts his head down and just busts it for home. And one thing that you want to do if you're going to put the pressure on an infield is you know that your weaker arms are on the right side of the infield. So if you're ever going to bust it at home, it's when your second baseman or your first baseman is either in the middle of a rundown or in a situation like that where they're pushed off the grass a little bit. Because now you're having to turn your body all the way around to square up your front shoulder to make a strong throw to home. Not only do you have to get it to home, but it has to be accurate, and you have to hope that that guy doesn't get a good jump. And if you go back and watch the replay, this is where the little things come into play. Watch as the ball is being pitched to the plate. Look at the secondary lead from Jonathan Aranda at third, and look at the secondary lead from Junior Caminero at second. That is why I get so pissed off when people give me numbers, right? They're giving me all these different numbers about why a guy's good or why a guy's bad. I just gave you multiple examples of the reason why the Rays won that game last night and the Rangers lost that game that do not show up on a stat sheet. Junior Caminero not getting too big, staying in the middle. Yeah, it looks like a hit in the on the stat sheet, but you're not going to know where that hit is. You're not going to be able to put 2 and 2 together and be like, wow, this young kid at 21 years old, if he pulls off the ball and pops up because he's trying to be a hero and hit a 3-run home run, we're probably not having this discussion today. He's got the focus to make sure he stays up the middle. Fantastic job there. Josh Young fielding that ball. It's an infield single on the stat sheet. But nobody talks about where Josh Young was positioned and how Marcus Semien didn't hustle to the bag and didn't give him an outlet for that throw. That doesn't come up on the stat sheet. And also a situation like this where Taylor Walls put in that position, putting the ball in play, Smith playing way out of position at first base, and the secondary leads from Jonathan Aranda and Junior Caminero. These are the fine details. These are the little things that the Rays have to do to be successful. And they're doing them. Pitching and defense, that is their bread and butter. Don't get me wrong. I am not making light of that at all. You look at Ryan Pepio giving them 6 solid innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, only 2 walks, 8 ponchas. He gave up 2 solo shots. You're going to live with that all day. Outside of the 2 solo shots, right? What's the problem? Right? We'll take it. I mean, you think about it. They gave up 3 solo home runs. That's fine. Pepio gives up 1 to Berger, 1 to Semien. You know, Kelly gives up 1 to Semien, but the rest of it, you love to see it. I'm just so impressed with how the Rays have won these games. Yeah, it's great when they have these offensive outbursts, when they score 12, 13, 14 runs. Yeah, you love to see that. No doubt about it. But I love games like that. Those are the games that tell me and show me that the Rays are playing the game the right way.
So when you have people and they're going to give you these bullshit numbers, man, well, this guy has this many hits on a Thursday afternoon and this guy's 4 for 10. No, man, no. That's not the reason why the Rays are winning. The Rays are doing the little things that are deeper than the numbers. They're playing the game the right way. The baseball gods have a way of rewarding the teams that play it the right way. Who plays Madden? You guys play Madden at all? You don't believe in like football gods or sports gods? If you're a team that goes for it on 4th down every time, 4th and 7, 4th and 8, 4th and 7, 4th and 8, and you don't punt, like you'll make 4th and 7. You'll be like, yeah, I made it. And all of a sudden, as soon as you get past the 1st down marker, what happens? Madden, boom, fumble. You turn the football over. Like that's what happens in sports. And if you don't believe that, you're not around the right sports people. If you don't believe in the baseball gods or the football gods, like in playing the games the right way, you're around the wrong people. Find some new friends. Really. Swear to you. And I've had this conversation with people at all levels, Hall of Famers, all-stars, coaches, front office members, that over a 162 game season, the teams that play the game the right way and do the little things, they're going to win the majority of the time. I mean, go back to the World Series last year. Go back to the Yankees and the Dodgers, right? And what happened with Garrett Cole and Anthony Rizzo, right? They get out of that inning if he covers first base, PFPs. We're having a different conversation today, right? Doing the little things. It's like that in every single sport. And if you're a coach out there and you're talking about the little things with your teams, your sons, your daughters, you're going to be in good shape because you're focused on the right stuff. Focus on the little things. You take care of the little things, the big things will take care of themselves. All right, let me give you the starting lineups for today's game, and it is an early start. We got Metallica tonight at Raymond James Stadium. Of course, just the way it goes. June 6th, happy D-Day. Obviously, a very important time in our country, a very important date in our country. Not an important date because of everything that's going on with Elon and Trump. That's pretty wild, isn't it? Batting leadoff for the Miami Marlins. It'll always be the Florida Marlins to me. Xavier Edwards, a 283 average, a slapdick prospect, no more for the Marlins. He'll bat leadoff and play second base. How about Jesus Sanchez? Designated hitter. He's going to bat second for the Marlins. Otto Lopez bats third. He is at shortstop. Agustin Ramirez is the catcher. He will bat cleanup. And then how about this? You got Liam Hicks batting fifth. He will play first base. You got Wagaman, Eric in left field. He's going to bat sixth. Then you have Heriberto Hernandez. He will bat seventh. He will be in right field. And then, of course, you have Connor Norby batting eighth over there at third base. And then finally, playing center field, batting ninth, Dane Myers. So listen, this is a much different crew when it comes to the Marlins. A bunch of guys that you may not have heard of before. And of course, on the bump for them, Edward Cabrera. He has got a fantastic arm. 2-1 with a 4.14 ERA. And for your Tampa Bay Rays, coming off of his complete game the last time out, Zach Littell, 5-5 with a 3.86 ERA, munching those innings for our Rays. Batting leadoff in right field. I love him right there, Josh Lowe. Followed by Brandon Lau, the Low and Lau, the designated hitter today. B. Lau batting second. Junior Caminero up to the 3-hole, batting third, playing third. Jonathan Aranda bats cleanup. He is at first base. Mangum, the Jake Mangum, in center field. He's going to bat fifth. Jose Caballero bats sixth. He's in left field. Matt Dice will do the catching and bat seventh. Curtis Mead gets a start at second and bats eighth. And then Taylor Walls, the hero from last night's game, bats ninth. He'll be at shortstop. Of course, I always want to hear from you guys. Get in on the conversation. There you go. There is the link. You can click on that link. There it is right there. But you can click on the link in the chat using your phone or your laptop, and we can go from there. Wow. Did you guys watch that game last night? Game one of the not the Stanley Cup Finals, excuse me. Game one of the NBA Finals. And when you're watching that game, I knew the game wasn't over. And I hope that Oklahoma City Thunder fans understood that this was a very real possibility. Because this is what they've done.
This is what they have done time and time and time again. They never say die. They really do. Like it's crazy to me when you look at. I'm trying to find me. Hold on one second, guys. I'm trying to Kawika Mitchell. Here we go. All right. I want to make sure I had the right thing for Kawika Mitchell joining us on the program at 1:00 today. Nancy Carroll, the great Nancy Carroll, for you, one of the greatest USF supporters alive. But watching that game last night, and it pains me to say it. It pains me. But you got to tip your hat to Tyrese Halliburton. He just does it again. And again, I don't understand why it's this thing in NBA media where you have to crap on guys that have that bad game or having a rough outing. And Richard Jefferson is like, oh, your stat line can't be tour dates. Like, that shit doesn't help anybody. It doesn't grow your product. You look petty. And I just hate these guys that were just, yeah, you were a good player, but you were never the man, right? You got your championships because you played with the great players in the game. I just don't get that. Why are you talking smack about people in today's game? I just don't understand it. And Indiana, never say die, ever. Halliburton has that clutch gene, whether you like him or not. And if you're a Pacers fan, you love him. If you're not a Pacers fan, you probably don't. And the guys in the league that said he was the most overrated player in the game, you could not be more wrong. That dude is a problem because he has no – it doesn't matter to him. If he's had a rough game, he's going to continue to take his shot. He has the ability to hang in the air a little bit and to be able to evade some of the defenders. He's a great dribbler. He's a great facilitator of the offense and passing the ball to guys that are open. They do a great job, Indiana, when things start breaking down for the other team. They know how to find that hot hand. And they also move the basketball really well. Even for a guy like Tyrese, who's a really good point guard, he's not a guy that's the ball's not going to stick in his hands like we see from a guy like Jalen Brunson, where you look at Brunson and be like, I can't believe he made that shot. Guy had a hand in his face, and he's dribbling 18 of the 24 seconds on the shot clock. Tyrese doesn't do that. He's moving the ball. Where's our guy Robert Cochran at? Our OKC guy. Where you at, Rob? You still feeling confident about your boys? I would be, because I still think Oklahoma City's going to win. But what a game for the Indiana Pacers. And to be fair, one thing that not enough people are talking about, the coaching disparity between these two. No disrespect to Mark Daniel. He's done a fantastic job, worked his way up. He reminds me a lot of Eric Spoelstra, how he kind of went up through the ranks within the organization. But this postseason has really, I think, solidified Rick Carlisle as one of the great coaches of all time. He's just unbelievable in the way that he puts his players in a position to succeed. And I think this is another one of those reasons why Tom Thibodeau got fired. We live in a comparative society. You always want to compare your last job to your new job, your last relationship to your new relationship. And when you're in sports, when it's two teams going up against each other, you're always going to compare the goalies and compare the coaches and compare the best players and compare the pitchers, right? It's just natural. So when you look at that series between the Pacers and the Knicks, there was a clear coaching advantage for Indiana. I don't think Tom Thibodeau did a terrible job. But when you look at how Rick Carlisle is so quick to make decisions and so quick to go to his bench and to be able to feed the hot hand, finding ways to get Aaron Nesmith involved in game one of that series, having Tony Bradley in there to be able to play defense and eliminate some of the offensive rebounding for Mitch Robinson, right? To be able to get different guys into the game. Who was the other guy? Oh, to get Thomas Bryant in there and to make some threes. This is a guy that was on the bench because of Bradley. He brings him back in later on in the series. He starts making threes. So those are the type of in-game adjustments, especially in a game like basketball, where it's up and down, offense, defense, transition happens just at the drop of a hat. Your coaches, you can't make a decision after the fact. You have to almost see things happen before they do. This is a part of the reason why a guy like John Cooper is so successful and Paul Maurice is so successful, right? They see things happen almost before they do, and they put their guys out there. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But they're not going to be caught with their pants down. And we saw another coaching masterclass last night from Rick Carlisle. He just unbelievable. They did what they had to do. You just want to win one on the road, and they are just the road warriors. They may be the Pacers, but this team is the road warriors. They do not care
who they're playing. They will go on the road and they will fight to the bitter end. And if you only play 40 minutes, 41 minutes, you messed up. You messed up. Not the team to do that to, pal. Not at all. So great vibes on the basketball side when it comes to the Indiana Pacers. Unfortunately for them, for their football team, Colts Anthony Richardson sidelined with a shoulder injury. He's aggravated that right shoulder joint. He injured in 2023, and he's going to be sidelined for an undetermined length of time, Shane Steichen said on Thursday. He missed all 3 offseason practices this week. He's going to be held out of mandatory minicamp, and he won't be ready for the start of training camp. He'll return at some point. But this is a big-time problem for the Indianapolis Colts. Because you know who their backup is? Daniel Jones. Danny Dimes in Indianapolis. Now, I think it's a problem for Anthony Richardson. Is it a problem for the Colts? If there's anybody that's going to get the most out of a guy like Daniel Jones, it's going to be Shane Steichen, who did wonders with Jalen Hurts in their run to the Super Bowl a couple years ago before they lost to the Chiefs. And then he got the job in Indy. Anthony Richardson was a very high-risk pick for the Colts at number 4 a couple of years ago. And we saw it. We saw it here when AR was with the Gators and they played USF here at Raymond James Stadium. There's a lot of Gator fans out there that knew that there was a ton of athletic ability with Anthony Richardson. But he was a work in progress. He had to be able to throw the football better to be able to match up with his incredible running prowess. I mean, his completion percentage when he played last year in 4 games, 47%. 47. Ugh. And it's not going to get easier now because he's not going to get the time that he so desperately needed with this offense, with this team as a whole, whether it's voluntary OTAs, whether it's the mandatory minicamp, whether it's the training camp. Getting those first reps and just working tirelessly over and over and over, how to mix up that running game with being able to throw the football, just being accurate. We know he's got a strong arm. I'm not impressed with a guy like that when he throws the ball 60 yards down the field for a touchdown. That's great. I hope you can do that. You're an NFL quarterback. You should be able to do that when you look like that. Show me the guy that is going to be accurate on 3rd down, 3rd and 5, that can throw a ball over the middle between 2 defenders and get a first down. Show me a guy that's going to run for a first down and get out of bounds. Show me a guy that's going to be able to scramble outside the pocket and when nothing's there, throw the football away. Those are the guys that win. I say this about quarterbacks all the time, and I think you can, half of this you could talk about pretty much for any good player in any sport. It's about accuracy, but it's about decision-making. Any successful person in sports, pretty much in life, they're a hell of a decision maker. You have to trust that these guys that you're going to put in these positions are going to make great decisions. Why has Baker Mayfield been so great with the Buccaneers? He's made great decisions on the field and off the field, right? Not getting in trouble, not doing anything to put his team in jeopardy, taking care of the football, running hard, being there for his teammates. Decision-making. Make the right decision. And I'm not sold on guys that make these let's see. I'm not sold on these guys that that's not me. Sorry, somebody just hit me up on something. Okay. I'm just not sold on these guys that are like, they look fantastic. They look like they were carved out of granite. They're built like a Greek god. To me, it's just like, be accurate with the football, make smart decisions. If you can do that, then I'm impressed. Then I'm in good shape. All right. A new coach with the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I know a lot of people out there were saying it's going to be Newsy Lalonde. It's going to be Derek Lalonde. No, it's not. No, it was never going to be Derek Lalonde. Told you guys that. Everybody act like I was hating and they knew better than me. No, and no again. No. Anybody else? Derek Lalonde, we need him back. Blah, blah, blah. Get out of here. Get out of here. No, sir. No, sir. Oh, the Aaron Rodgers thing. Finally signed with the Steelers. I know I posted that I was going to talk about that. I'll mention that real quick. Aaron Rodgers finally signs with the Steelers, ending the longest non-drama storyline in NFL history. This guy, it's all about himself. It's all about him. And luckily for the Steelers, he's in there before mandatory minicamp. So great. He gets to work with the team before training camp, get used to working with DK Metcalf and the crew. He's not going to be able to pull any BS playing for Mike Tomlin. Could it work out? I don't know. I almost like it when these redemption stories come back. And then Aaron Rodgers. Then again, we continue to talk about him. We'll have the same discussion next offseason. So I don't know if that's for the best or not. But week 1, he's going to play his former team. It'll be an interesting swap as Justin Fields takes the field for the New York Jets. And then Aaron Rodgers takes the field. Or Fields for the Jets against the Steelers. And then Rodgers for the Steelers against the Jets. It's so crazy how the narrative of Aaron Rodgers has changed over the years. Discount, double check, and all those things. Now I think a lot of people want to see him fail. I don't think a lot of people want to see him succeed, it's kind of sad. All right, so the new coach for the Tampa Bay Lightning is Dan Hinote, and I remember him from his time with the Colorado Avalanche. He spent last season as associate coach with the Colorado Eagles of the AHL, the primary affiliate of the Colorado Avalanche, and we know Colorado over the last couple of years, how good they've been, and Jared Bednar and the way he runs things over there with Joe Sakic and the entire crew, like nothing but respect for the Colorado Avalanche. He helped the Eagles to the best record in the AHL's Western Conference, going 43-21-5 with 94 points. He led the AHL in goal differential with a plus 65, 13 better than second place. Let's see. A native of Leesburg, Florida, began his coaching career with the Columbus Blue Jackets during the 2010, 2011 seasons. Let's see, coaching some of the development teams for the Team USA, assistant coach of the Nashville Predators in 2021 when they went to the Stanley Cup playoffs in 3 of his 4 seasons in the Music City. And if you remember the discussion that we had with Nigel Kerwin, we asked him, like, what did Jeff Blashill do for the Tampa Bay Lightning? And he told us that Blashill was a guy that worked hand in hand with the video coaches to be able to disseminate that message to John Cooper and the rest of the coaching staff. After the show today, or whenever you guys get some free time, obviously not right now, go back and listen to that interview with Nigel Kerwin, because when we had that discussion with him about what Jeff Blashill did, I know a lot of people were kind of getting on Blash and blaming him for a lot of different things, and I don't think people really knew what he did as far as his contributions to the team. It gets a little, there's people out there that think that Nigel's the guy that, you swear you're a big Lightning fan and you know all the intricacies of this team. And you're like, oh, Nigel's the guy that figures out what's offside and not. No, he's not. He's not that guy. It's Brian Garlock that does that. So every time somebody a call is done, everybody's like, thank you, Nigel. It should be thank you, Brian, for that. Nigel does some of the other stuff and getting the tape ready for the coaches and the guys and, intermission stuff and after the game type of stuff. So Jeff Blashill caught a lot of heat and a lot of blame for things that you guys don't 100% know that he was a part of. He worked hand in hand with Zettler, and he worked hand in hand with a lot of these different coaches on the staff to help this team with their defensive structure. And that's something that Dan Hinote is going to bring into this team. He's not going to mess with the power play. That's going to be Jeff Halpern, but he is going to be a guy that is going to bring a fresh and a new idea from the Colorado side, a completely different organization as a whole. This is again, Benny's saying, strong minor league system for a while, right? And bringing him in, being able to just get a fresh pair of eyes on this entire thing. But I thought it was very interesting that, and this is a Stanley Cup champion as well, won the Stanley Cup back in 2001 with the Colorado Avalanche. So here's the thing that stands out to me. The Colorado Eagles, and listen, the Lightning put this out there, right? Colorado led the AHL in goal differential with a plus 65, 13 better than second place, while leading the league in goals with 250 and ranked tied for fourth in goals against with 185. Why do you think that the Lightning put that in the press release. Think about that. They put that in there because they want you to realize and want you to understand that this guy is going to try to help with continuing that path of strong 5-on-5 play and an emphasis on the defensive zone. That is important to them. And I like that. I think it's smart. I think you continue. And when you make changes in coaching, it doesn't have to be a complete difference. People think, oh, you go from a defensive guy to an offensive guy, an offensive guy to a defensive guy. No. Each coach is unique. You already know what's going to happen with John Cooper and Jeff Halpern and with Coach Rob Zettler and, you know, Franz John, what he's going to do with the goaltenders. He's going to have to come in now and find his niche with this team. How is he going to help? Is he going to adjust the defensive structure a little bit? I hope so. One thing that Bobby the Chief Taylor has said to me in the past is, Jay, I don't like when all these guys go into one corner. What their mindset is overload on the puck. And when they overload on the puck, if you can outnumber the guys in the corner, you come away with it, you get position, and then you go. But what happens is, and ironically enough, we have arguably the best player on the Tampa Bay Lightning here that outperforms the numbers disadvantage in Nikita Kucherov. If that one guy gets the puck, if it's 1-on-3 and he gets rid of that puck, now on the rest of the ice, it's 4-on-2, right? So, I mean, you have to be aware of that. And I wonder if, especially in their own zone, if the Lightning slightly make adjustments with Dan Heinold coming on board. I hope so. Because as much as we look at, and people wanted to blame Steven Stamkos for the 5-on-5 numbers, because such a lame argument, right? Steven Stamkos' 5-on-5 numbers would have been much better this year if Jake Guentzel was on the team. Would have been much better with Ryan McDonough on the team. Fortunately, he's the scapegoat. They get rid of him. You know, I know he didn't have a great year with Nashville, but I thought there was times where he was their best player. There was a lot of problems with that team. I think their coach is one of the worst coaches in all of professional sports, and Andrew Burnett. I don't know how they brought him back. But yeah, it's a team effort. It's a team effort out there, and I like this. I like this move. I like it because first off, it wasn't Derek Lalonde, and it's a guy that has playing experience, but also working with developmental. When you're working with younger players too, you have to focus on. See, my thing when you're looking at coaches with the constantly NHL level, I get it. You're in it. There's an experience factor, but when you're an assistant coach, the experience helps. But there's also a teaching aspect of everything where sometimes it's good to break it down to the basics. Sometimes, look at the guys that are really good at what they do. It's about the basics. Look at what Nikita Kucherov does. Look at what Ryan O'Reilly does. Look at what Austin Matthews does and Connor McDavid. Those guys break. Sidney Crosby is another great example. Getting down to the basics, not trying to, overload everything, focusing on their hands, focusing on how many times you see Crosby. We saw it for, in the World Championships, him working with Macklin Celebrini on faceoffs. Like those little things are huge. So when you have a guy like Dan Heinold and you see what his background is, obviously working with the Blue Jackets and working with the Predators and working with the AHL, but when you go, he was with the U.S. National Team Development Program, associate coach for U17 and U18, bronze medal for U18 in the World Juniors, right? So he's worked with those younger players too that had those aspirations to go and play in the National Hockey League. So he knew that working with those guys, everybody's talented that level, but what can you do to focus on the little things? Kind of goes back to that conversation we had about the Tampa Bay Rays, focusing on the little things. That is huge. And I just, such a smart choice, such a smart selection for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Not a surprise at all. Also not a surprise, we see that there is a coaching change in the National Hockey League, and that is Peter DeBoer out in Dallas. I look at what Peter DeBoer has done in his career, a heck of a coach, but what he did, taking out Jake Ottinger in Game 7, was a death knell for him. You took your goalie out. This is one of the best goalies in the league. And you take him out, and then in essence, you blame him. Like, it was not a, you got to shield your players sometimes as a coach. It's one thing to be honest. But when you have a situation like he had, and you're sitting there and you're almost blaming Jake Ottinger. Well, what he did last year, last year was a completely different animal. You can't tell me that even Jake Ottinger, who's been one of the best goalies in the sport the last couple of years, you can't tell me that he's the same goalie last year as he was this year. This is a guy that was on Team USA. This is a guy that's working with Connor Hellebuck. He wants to play for Team USA in the Olympics. You can't tell me that guy isn't busting his ass to try to get better every single day. So what? You're not going to play Connor McDavid because he lost the Stanley Cup final last year? Like, what the hell are we talking about? I've never seen a guy, and it wasn't like he threw him under the bus, kind of. Well, it's one thing if you throw the guy under the bus and you're like forceful about it and you talk shit about him. It's another thing kind of do it like half-ass. You're like, yeah. I can't stand that. If you're going to be a heel, if you're going to be a villain, jump in with both feet. Jump in and be that guy. Don't half-ass it. And when you look at Peter DeBoer's career, he's constantly come up short. Listen, he's 662 and 447. 600 wins in the National Hockey League is very, very impressive. However, when you look at his resume, in Florida, missed the playoffs all 3 times. He lost the Stanley Cup final as the coach of the New Jersey Devils, then missed the next 2 years of playoffs. Then in San Jose, went to the playoffs every single year, lost in the finals, first round, second round, conference finals, 0-4. Lost in the conference finals both years as a coach of the Vegas Golden Knights before missing the playoffs. And then in his last 3 years with Dallas, he lost in the conference finals every single time to Vegas, and then the last 2 to Edmonton. So, yeah, when you look at his winning percentage, not too bad over the years in the regular season. But when you look at the playoffs, 29 and 27, like, you have to be better than that. Or, 97 and 82, 542, 10 playoff appearances. You got to win it all eventually, you would think. Going in the wrong direction is Peter DeBoer. And, he'll get another job one day because that's how the NHL works. But I just that's not going to rub people the right way, the way you speak about Jake Ottinger. Sorry, buddy. Tonight, Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final, 8 o'clock puck drop there in Edmonton. A thrilling Game 1 victory for the Edmonton Oilers, 4-3. Leon Draisaitl, the winner. Incredible pass from Connor McDavid. I fully expect the Florida Panthers to be able to bounce back. Fully expect it. Because that they have the heart of a champion. You have leaders on this team with Barkov and with Brad Marchand and Aaron Ekblad and Sergei Bobrovsky in net. But it's going to come down to which team deals with the ebbs and flows, which team deals with the ups and downs and can kind of keep it on the track. Oilers jump out to a 1-0 lead, 66 seconds into Game 1. Panthers score. Oilers challenge. They end up taking a 2-1 lead, 3-1 lead early in the second, but Edmonton answers right back before they're able to tie the game and then win the game in overtime. So if you're the Panthers, when you get into that third period, again, like we saw the other night, are you going to be a team that is going to sit back, or are you going to keep your foot on the gas pedal? That's important. Because that's what we saw in Game 1, and that's very uncharacteristic from the Florida Panthers. This is a team that just continues to play the right way, and I know that Paul Maurice is not going to be shy calling his team out. Maybe not in public like Peter DeBoer does, but he's going to let his team know that third period is not acceptable. If you want to win, you got to see it through. You got to play a full 60 minutes. Because we said that in Game 7 last year. Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Final, Florida Panthers holding on to that lead. But it wasn't they were holding on to the lead. Yeah, they were dumping the puck out, but they weren't icing it. They weren't panicking. And it just seemed like Edmonton, as much as they would push forward, they could not find the equalizer. I said last year, I thought Edmonton could have played another 10 minutes and still not score a goal. That's how good defensively the Florida Panthers were. That's how good they're going to have to be. They're going to have to bring their lunch pail tonight. You want to be able to steal one on the road, you're going to have to do it in tonight's game. It's an 8 o'clock start. Edmonton is going to be rocking. They're that close. They are that close. It took them to game 4 last year to get a win. They got one in game 1 this year. And I look at Connor McDavid and I look at Leon Draisaitl, even with the absence of Zach Hyman, it seems like they smell blood. I had Edmonton in 6 going into this series. And again, not hating on the Florida Panthers. I just look at it and sometimes it's your time. And I truly believe that it is the time for the Edmonton Oilers. It is the time for Connor McDavid. And we'll go from there. Let's see. Also, the Spurs, not the San Antonio Spurs, the Tottenham Spurs, have sacked Ange Postecoglou despite winning the Europa League over Manchester United. Wow. I was wondering if this was going to happen. Did the win over Man U help them? Because he always says, I win trophies in year 2. That's exactly what he did. But after deciding a change was necessary for the club to, quote-unquote, compete on multiple fronts, the 59-year-old got the Spurs their first trophy in 17 years. The Tottenham Hotspurs fire Ange Postecoglou. 22 league defeats, the worst Premier League record for a team to avoid relegation. And the reason why people say, or why they said to compete on multiple fronts is because Ange is a guy that runs his team into the ground. He plays them heavy minutes. He plays hard. They practice hard. I mean, to be fair, if they lose that game, people are going to look and say, you didn't have Dejan Kulusevski. You didn't have a guy like James Madison because you practice these guys too hard. I mean, you look at him. You look at a guy like it sounds like we're talking about Tom Thibodeau here. I think he'll find another job. But it is listen, you have Daniel Levy, who's got a ton of money. You have a beautiful stadium there in Tottenham, there in North London. So Brentford's Thomas Frank, Fulham's Marco Silva, and Bournemouth's Andoni Areola. Those could be the 3 guys that they're looking at. But I'm a little surprised. I thought that would have kind of given him a new lease on life because there's some good players on that Tottenham team. You look at Pedro Porro and that back line and how good they were this year. I mean, defensively, when they were at their best, and offensively, I mean, you got rid of Harry Kane, you get all that money, you bring in Brennan Johnson, you bring in Solanke to go with Son, you have Madison and Kulusevski. Like, there's some good players on that team. But for some reason, you look at what Ange was doing and he wore out his welcome. And it's kind of ironic. Don't ever judge the pregame press conference on how it's going to go, because Manchester United was smiling and laughing and everybody was getting along and everybody was happy and all that jazz, and Bruno Fernandes and Harry Maguire and Ruben Amorim were all laughing and happy, and Ange Postecoglou was like going on and he kind of getting into it with the media, and you're looking at it like, wow, history is going to be on the side of Man U here and they're going to win. It didn't happen. Did not happen. The Spurs, they win, they move on, they win the Europa League. They're playing Champions League football next year. And it's so crazy. It's so wild how it happens. And now they're moving on from him and they're looking for a new coach. They got to get it done soon. Some incredible action yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw any of it, but Portugal beating Germany. Cristiano Ronaldo scores a goal. An incredible effort from Bruno Fernandes and just a lot of great players. And then the game between Spain and France. Wow. Spain dominating France all the way back. Ryan Cherky from Olympique Lyonnais. He was unbelievable coming off of the bench. It was a 5-4 game. If you want to watch an incredible matchup, go watch that Spain-France game. Just go watch the highlights on YouTube and seeing goals from Lamine Yamal. I can't believe he's 17 years old. And Kylian Mbappe and Cherky himself and Randall Kolo Muani. It was a fun game. So go check that out. I think it's Saturday or Sunday. The finals of the Nations League. It's going to be Portugal against Spain. The first time ever we're going to see Cristiano Ronaldo against Lamine Yamal. I mean, You're talking about one of the greatest players of all time against maybe the best player on the planet right now, and he's 17 years old. This is the first time that these guys are facing off against each other, and we know with the proximity of how close Spain and Portugal are to each other. Ooh, that's going to be such a good game. Oh, that you want to talk about games that matter. And it's the difference. That's the difference in this country, where here we may look at it like, it's not a big deal, blah, blah. Over there, it means everything. It means everything. As much as you love playing for your club and you're super appreciative of like the opportunities that you get and the money that you get paid, obviously, but there's such a pride for playing for your country. And when you watch these games, man, you look at Cristiano after the final wish yesterday, going up to Nuno Mendes, the young wing back for PSG, the guy that fed him the ball for him to score. It still means something. It really does. Those guys are not giving in. And when you're that close, Spain and Portugal right next to each other, this is a big one. So if you get an opportunity to watch this at all this weekend, go check it out. It'll be worth the watch. Trust me. UT about to get underway. We know that the Rays are about to get underway as well. Looks like the same starting lineup for UT. Jordan Williams, Nico Saladino, JD Urso, Braden Warburn, Edgardo Villegas, Joander Irigoyen, Kevin Karstetter, Cole Russo, and Maddox King. We showed you the picture yesterday from Cole Russo taking that foul ball off of the face. 6 stitches in his eyebrow. Listen, if the delay of the game and having it pushed back helped anybody, it's definitely Cole Russo, for him to be able to get one full day off, to be able to rest and to be able to be ready for today's matchup against Northwest Nazarene. The winner advances to Game 1 of the championship series against Central Missouri at 6 o'clock today. So cannot wait for that. Waiting for Kawika Mitchell. He's going to join us here in a moment. David Terry, little history for you. Anfield was built on top of Everton's cricket pitch. I did not know that. Is that the reason why they still hate each other? The Merseyside Derby? All right, so he retweeted or reposted my Instagram story. So I'm just going to say, we're ready for you. There we go. So yeah, Anfield and that was one of the best matches this year in the Premier League. Anfield and Everton and Liverpool. Everton getting a late equalizer from James Tarkowski for a 2-2 draw. The final game that they played against each other at Goodison Park before they move into their new stadium. I thought that was cool. I mean, sometimes it's a win. Sometimes ties are a draw. Not the worst thing in the world, especially when you don't really care who wins. Yeah, really, really good matchup there. And again, mention the Rays starting in about 10 minutes over there at Steinbrenner Field. If you have tickets to Metallica tonight, good luck. Have some fun. I wouldn't say I'm a Metallica fan, but don't hate them at all. One of the greats of all time. So go out there, have a great time. Just be safe, right? Be safe out there. You just never know what's going on. People get a little crazy when it comes to going to these concerts, especially here in the Bay Area. It gets a little hot. We've seen some people acting weird recently at these games and these concerts. The heat are getting to people. I don't know about you guys, but I start seeing these things on social media, on TikTok and Instagram, and just people acting a fool and not cooperating with the local authorities. Like, just be smart, right? If people tell you to do something, just listen, right? Nobody's out to get you. Just be smart. Be smart, be safe, treat other people the way you want to be treated, and then go from there. I know Dave Terry, Mean and Walls in the lineup again. Hassan Kim played his first game at shortstop last night as well, so getting a step closer. And listen, Walsey came up big. I think he had a sac fly a couple of weeks ago, so doing what he can. We know he's going to play some stellar defense, and Mead's going to be in there most of the time against left-handed pitchers. I know there's a right-handed pitcher on the bump today, but you need these guys. You have to see what you got with them. And I think last year some people were looking at Jonathan Aranda going, is he going to be a guy that is going to contribute to this team? I don't know if a lot of people knew. And now you look at it and you say, man, where would this team be? Where would the Tampa Bay Rays be right now without Jonathan Aranda? Right? Insane how good that guy has been. So I'll take Aranda. I'll take Junior Caminero. those guys at the corner, and you're looking at Ha-Sung Kim, like, man, I really like what the Rays are all about. All right, let's bring them in. Newest member of the USF Hall of Fame, Kawika Mitchell, on the program. Hey, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing great. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great. What do you got going on today?
Oh, man, I'm out here in the middle of the ocean.
Nice. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Listen, I told a bunch of people you were coming on today, and I'm a kid that grew up on Long Island, but I've lived in Tampa for 20 years, so I'm a half and half guy. But
Okay.
I had Big Blue Wrecking Crew on the wall in my house when I was a kid, and when the Giants won in 1990, I won $60 as a 5-year-old. So I was a Giants fan through and through. So all of my people, my friends, my family, you played 1 year with the Giants, my man, but you made such a profound impact. What do you still get Giants fans coming up? I mean, you're part of one of the most iconic teams in football history, taking down Tom Brady and the undefeated Pats.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I always said the Giants fans are some of the best fans out there. They travel well. I remember having we couldn't win at home. So when we went on the road, all the fans were always at the lower circle. And it was always fun saying what's up to everybody after the games. But it's true. Once a Giant, always a Giant, and they always show love. So.
Yeah, no doubt. And it was weird for me as a guy that grew up a Giants, and then Tom Brady comes here, and they're like, "Oh yeah, what do you feel about Tom?" And I'm like, "Well, it is what it is." First off, congratulations, excuse me, Hall of Famer for USF. When you got the call that you were going to be inducted into the USF Hall of Fame, what did that mean to you? What was kind of the first thing that came to your mind?
Oh man, just a lot of gratitude, man. I was really excited. I got the call at work. Michael Kelly called me the night before, and I missed it. And then we finally got in touch with each other the next day, and it was emotional, man. It was exciting, and I have a lot of really close friends from South Florida. We played really hard together, and so it means a lot on a lot of levels. Not just for myself, but for the people that I played with as well.
When you think back to your days at South Florida, what are some of the big memories that stick out to you?
The Pittsburgh game,
Mm-hmm.
going up there and beating Pitt, and then Oklahoma game. Really, really, even just going in there and the battles that we had early on, and just how hard that Levitt would push us, which is obviously he's another Hall of Famer, but it was just collectively, it was a bunch of guys who may or may not had opportunity to go to big schools, and it was just great to be able to contribute and have people who were all like-minded. I would say they all were pretty aggressive and willing to get after it. So there's a lot of really good memories.
What does it mean to you to be able to go in with Coach Jim Levitt? I mean, he's a guy when even to this, every time there's a job opening for the football program, they're like, just bring Levitt back. He always, regardless of how it ended, and people always look back fondly at those times because this program has yet to receive, get to those heights that they were able to get with Coach Levitt. What does it mean to be able to go in with him?
It means a lot. He was always really consistent. It was always football for him, and I know he loves the game, and a lot of people didn't really understand him a lot. But when things happen around the team, like there are certain, tragedies or certain things that happen, he was always there. And enough of that happened at South Florida that he had plenty of opportunity. But he was always somebody that really showed a lot of love. I think he was misunderstood in a lot of ways, but because he's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie about that. He's definitely an intense guy, but I think just the respect that I have for him, and I think it just means that much more to go in with him.
Football's different, right? I mean, as much as people, you could cover it, like I've been covering it for 11 years now, and it's different when you're in that locker room. Like my buddy Ian Beckles played for the Bucks in the 90s, and him and I have this conversation a lot where the media may look at a guy, and a guy might be friendly with the media, but his relationship with the team might be different with the coaches. Like there's stories that we know on our side, but there's always a different side of it to players and the coaches that we'll never see, right? Because we're not in the locker room every day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he, on all levels, there's a lot of things that happen between the lines, and I think that's why people become so close. You play with these guys; they sacrifice a lot. In college, you got classes, you got a lot of different pressures to handle, and as it goes on, that doesn't change. And it's a shared experience, and I think it's something unique in the world. I try to replicate it in business, but to get a lot of people with one common goal is not an easy thing to do. So when you're able to do that, I think a lot of good memories come from that.
I want to ask you about that game again. I brought it up before, going into that Super Bowl against Tom Brady. And I remember watching that game, and I was down here, and the only two guys that picked you, I think, were Snoop Dogg and Denzel Washington. I was like, I feel pretty good now because those are the two guys. What was it like leading up into that game with pretty much everybody, talking about this is going to be the team that is going to, take over for the Miami Dolphins? Like, how much of that did you guys use as motivation, or was it one of those things where you were internally motivated and you just kind of focused on what you had to do?
I think we were really focused on what we had to do. We actually had a lot of confidence going into the game, even though they beat us the last game of the season. We felt confident. We felt we were hitting our stride. It was something that we talked about from the beginning of the season as far as defense was concerned, that the more we learn Spagnuolo's system, the more productive we'll be able to become. And like the blitz that I had, we saved that for the Super Bowl. The one where I faked like I was dropping, and then I went. So we talked about that all year long. And then when it came time in the Super Bowl, Spagnuolo was like, "Hey, it's time to do this," and then we did it, and it was successful. So we felt good about our plan with the defensive line and a lot of different characteristics that we had as that team. We felt more confident than probably people would expect.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually watched that sack last night, and you busted up the guts so fast and knocked Brady down. It was just like, oh shit, man! Like, yep, sack. Like, it's scratching and check it off, man. Sacking the Super Bowl. I want to ask you about, because we have Todd Bowles here, and a lot of people they don't really love his demeanor, and they look at it like Tony Dungy and a calm guy. And I've said, listen, you don't want a guy that's getting too high, and you don't want a guy that's getting too low, but you also want a guy that's open-minded and kind of learn. And Michael Strahan's been very vocal about this over the years about Tom Coughlin, about you're losing the team. Can you hear me? And he put some of the leadership in place. And how did you see Tom Coughlin change in that 1 year? Because it's been pretty, well documented that he kind of had I don't want to say soften up, because we know how strict he was, but there was a little bit of a shift that year. How did you see that from your perspective, and how it helped your club?
I think it helped out a lot. My experience with Tom, he was definitely one of my favorite coaches. I like the way that he runs the team. I think it took a point for him to realize that the leadership he had in place was valuable. With Strahan and some of these other guys, Amani Toomer, and there was a shift as well. I think Tiki, not being there that year too, just that kind of changes the entire locker room. Not that he was a negative piece of that at all, but just the whole shift in leadership. And I think Tom was smart enough to realize that. And he kind of he didn't let up completely, because he still was Tom, but he did let the leaders lead. So I think that spoke a lot.
So what are you doing right now? You're out fishing? Is it personal? Is it business? What do you got going on, man? You look like you're in a great place now.
It involves business, but it's also personal.
Nice.
We've been out here. It's a University of Florida fishing tournament out here in Canaveral. So just out here with some friends and some good people, just having a good time, man. Nothing too crazy, but we're, catching some fish and seeing how we can measure up against everybody else in the competition. But just having a good time.
What is your everyday life now, Kawika? What you got going on? What's the big thing that's occupying your football time that you used to have?
Always starts with my family. I got I've been married to my wife going on 22 years. I got to make sure I say the right date, but 22 years, and I got 3 kids, 22, 20, and 7. And besides that, I'm in the construction business now, having a good time with that. Staying busy, riding bikes is another thing that I do a lot of.
Awesome.
Yeah, so yeah, staying busy, taking care of myself, and just trying to live, man.
What do you make of the flag football and the Olympics thing, man? Because that's gonna, as much it's a little murmur now. Justin Jefferson came out, and I think about that from the skill players are gonna want to do it. What about the linebackers? What about the linemen? When you hear stuff like that, do you think that when we get to that point, is it going to be NFL players? Do you think it's going to be flag guys? What do you think?
I think it should be a mix of two.
Right.
I think there's some flag football guys that have been in the sport for a while, and it's different. Flag is basically what we call 7-on-7. We call pass skill or whatever you want to call it. It's mainly just working on your pass game. So I know we have a lot of guys that are highly skilled that can do that. I do think they should get a shot. And I think some of the flag football people who have already been playing, I think those players deserve a shot as well. So I think we'll be stacked either way you put it.
Kawika, before I let you go, I want to ask you about kind of the state of South Florida and the football program. Alex Golish being there a couple of years now, winning a couple of bowl games, and we know how rough it was, before that. What do you see? And I talk to a lot of people inside and outside. They say that USF is a sleeping giant, and they always harken back to your days and Jim Levitt and those great teams over the years. When you look at the USF football program, what could it be in your eyes, especially with a place like Tampa that I'm sure every time you come back here, it gets crazier and crazier. It gets bigger and bigger and more transplants here. But when you think of what a USF football program could be in the next 5, 10, 15 years, what do you think?
I think a lot of big things are on the horizon. I think with the new stadium, I think that's going to be great for the student body. I think that's going to be great for the fans. The team, I just think overall that's going to bring more success. I think we need some consistency. I think we need to keep going the direction we're going in right now. I think UCF is probably the best example. They've done a great job of building their program, and I think that's something to look at as well. If you have a team that's in Florida, there's plenty of talent in Florida. Right. So are we going to be able to win those battles? And I think with some of the new facilities, I think we'll be able to do that.
No doubt about it. He's the new USF Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champ, Kawika Mitchell. This has been an honor and a pleasure, my friend. Get back out there on the water, catch the biggest, win that tournament, man. And I'll see you in a couple of months when you're back here in the Tampa Bay area getting inducted. Thanks so much, buddy.
I appreciate you having me, man.
You got it. Kawika Mitchell, man, what an unbelievable player in his time with the USF Bulls and in the NFL. I thought that was a good chat, man. A really, really good chat. I didn't want to keep him too long because he's out there having some fun. That was really, really cool to be able to chat with him. Yeah, awesome, man. Awesome. All right. So starting for UT, CJ Williams, the pitcher of the year. There we go. 3 up, 3 down for CJ Williams. They're going to the bottom of the first inning for our Tampa Spartans against Northwest Nazarene, the Nighthawks. Again, please keep me in. I'm trying to be selfish, not trying to be selfish here, but it is what it is. I want to be able to get out to this game. I want to be able to go there and to be able to watch my guys do their thing. All right, as far as the Rays go, right now, it is a 0-0 game. Josh Lowe is at the plate after a scoreless inning for the Marlins. 1-2-3, I believe it was, for our guy. Yeah, grounds out. Yeah, 1-2-3 for Zach Littell. So really, really good stuff there. Okay, it's going to wrap it up for me. I got to get rolling. I got to get going. All right, here we go. Again, I'll say this now and I'll say this again. If you have an opportunity in life to take a chance, if you have an opportunity in life to do something, right, do it. That's what I'm doing. I am banking that the USF, I just had USF Hall of Famer on. I'm banking at the University of Tampa is going to win this game against Northwest Nazarene and playing the championship game tonight at 6 o'clock. We don't know. We'll find out. I'll find out in the air. I will probably pay for the Wi-Fi. Whoever said that before, you bet your bottom dollar. No matter what, I'll be on. I'll be coming back at the very latest on Sunday night, so I'll be here on Monday. We got some big guests lined up for next week. Happy birthday to JJ Moser. Saw that earlier today. Lightning defenseman has done a fantastic job with the team. We love you, JJ. You are the man. Good luck to UT. Thank you to David Terry again for the super chat. You are the best. Thank you, my friends. Again, follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok. I'm everywhere. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Rays, keep those winning ways going. And again, pray for me and pray for UT. I love you all. We'll see you Monday at noon right here on the Jay Recher Podcast. I am